11 o'clock Central Time. Let's do this.
And the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under it.
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Shalom alaikum. Peace.
Young
Be unto you.
TV.
Hit that like.
Man, it's 11 o'clock where we at. It's probably 12 where y'all at. For my guys in Atlanta. Man, we had to bring this one to you. We heard what they were saying. We got to bring you the mind of the gods, right? We got to bring you out the mind of the gods, or the world of the gods. Cause you gotta you gotta understand why these elites think the way they think. This is Young Elder, your authorized dealer. That camera on me real right. Young, your authorized dealer, man. Get them in here. We got 43 people. That's enough. 4 and 3 is 7. That's enough right there. So let's get into it. Now, we told people that there was a group of Anunnakis that were eating people. And people said, man, you know, that's messed up. That's not right. You know, these guys eat the humans, right? That's not right. But you got to keep in mind, humans are only using a certain amount of a percentage of their brain capacity. Humans are only using a certain amount of brain capacity, right? And so if you compare yourself to a chicken, y'all eat chicken. Now, if that chicken could talk, if that chicken could say, hey, man, why you eating me? I got a family. I got kids. I want to live. Would you still eat them after that? What if when you capturing that chicken to wring his neck, to wring that chicken's neck, that chicken could talk? And that chicken said, hey, man, why you eat me? Would you still eat him? Somebody drop it in the chat. Would you eat a talking chicken? Right? Now, what if that chicken is talking and you just don't understand his language? So it's the same thing with extraterrestrials, right? When they come here and they put you into a pot and ball you and you screaming, ah, why I'm being balled? They balling you up, cutting onions and bell peppers in there on you and some garlic in there on you. And you screaming and shouting, but they don't understand your language. So, you know, It's the same with you balling chicken. You gotta get this. In the God world, they don't look at things like y'all look at things. Things that y'all look at as bad. As a kid, in one of my lives, I remember great detail what was going on, especially at my mother's house, especially with the drugs. People, people unsubscribing because they can't handle the truth. They can't handle that they're Elo in the world of the gods, that they were moving drugs. Now, in your Bible, some of these gods are considered as bad gods, like Baal. The three people that were moving the drugs were really was four involved. It was Enlil, who was over the whole operation, and then it was Nanar, who was my grandfather, and it was my uncle, and then Ertu. Now, people under the impression that the Anunnakis was just smuggling gold. No, they were smuggling more than gold. They were smuggling several different types of minerals. Bible go over a few of them in the holy tablets. One of them was chlorine. Chlorine is a poisonous gas. They were smuggling chlorine to other planets. They were smuggling iron. They were smuggling opium and cocaine to other places. Now, somebody was asking me, how did our Nana get a hold of those drugs that she used to have at her party? And I broke it down for him. That she got the brown stuff, the doogie. It's what they called it on Bumpy Johnson. She used to get the doogie from my grandfather Nanar. Now look at this. Everybody going out to say that my grandfather Nanar is a bad guy. But that's based on perspectives. Because when I was over Nanar house, we always had fun at Nanar house. And Nanar was just like Nino Brown. It's like this. Big Meech was a big time drug dealer, right? But Lil Meech don't look at Big Meech as a bad guy. He look at, oh, that's my dad. He took me to Disneyland. He took me here. He bought me go-karts and whatever I wanted. My dad's the best guy in the world. That's how we looked at it Nanar, because he, even though other people say, oh yeah, he was doing this, he had strict rules, or he was, he's running the operation, and he was mean or whatever. He had all these different codes or whatever. But to us as kids, we didn't look at it like that. We didn't look at it like that. Like I say, like Lil Meech look at his dad, right? But what happens is with the Elohims, and people don't like people that's religious guys, they gonna get the hell out of here and unsubscribe and all that, because they ain't on this level. So if you're a religious guy, you might want to get out of here right now, man. I'm gonna give you a chance to get out of here, because this right here is for the advanced students only. This ain't for religious guys who still don't really know what's going down at this point, right? So my grandfather Nanar, who is Enlil's son, right? Who is Halah's grandson as well. Nanar and Baal is Halah's grandson as well, and Enlil's sons, right? So my grandfather Nanar, at one point, they were the Anunnakis were mining they didn't have the humans at first to till the ground and to dig the gold. So the Anunnakis were mining. And then when Inky was running the operation, shit was going smooth. But when Enlil took over, he wanted to speed up operations. He wanted to get things pumping so he can make himself look better than Inky on the gold operation, right? So as the operation was going on, the miners, listen to that word, miners. You can spin that three ways. The miners, right, were digging for gold, and they were getting restless, and they were having complaints. So in order to pacify them or dulcify them, Enlil introduced them to this brown stuff, which you refer to as doogie, which they were making from these plants that they brought. And I can show you pictures of the Anunnakis on the wall holding opium plants, what you call making Oxycontin, Loratel, all these different drugs they make now from this plant, right? They started making this brown stuff. In Oro Chaldea, they had the factory, and the person that was over that factory was Nanar. And at first, they started giving Haron, Duji, to these miners. Listen to that word, listen to that word, miners. Now, they started giving Duji to these miners, and eventually, it held them out for a little while to where they would, work, get high, and then they would be docile, but they still had a lot of complaints. There still were complaints going on, but this held them down for a little while until they began to get immune to it, all till the supplies began to get low. Why? Because Nanar, once he found out how profitable the Doogie was, he set up an operation on the dark side of the moon to begin smuggling it to other planets. Because keep in mind, the Anunnakis wasn't just mining on this planet. The Anunnakis just wasn't mining on Earth. They were mining on several other planets. So the operation started here on as far as the Doogie. And then Nanar, like I say, set up a base on the dark side of the moon to begin smuggling the Doogie to other miners on other planets. So you ain't did nothing new when you start moving some Doogie, right? Nanar been doing it. And then once, hey, close my door, Haru. Then so that's how my mother was getting it at her party. She used to have bowls of it when these guys came over. These miners came to visit. She had bowls of it on the counter, and she used to get whole blocks of it from my grandfather, Nana, her dad. He had like a whole room full of them, like stacked up, kilos or whatever of it. And that's where she used to get it from. And then the like the white stuff, she used to get that from her uncle, whose name was Ninurtu, who was the first Persian Connect. Because Enlil, if you read in his confessions and in that book of Lost Books of Enki, he said that he sent Ninurtu over to Peru, right, what you call in Peru today, to retrieve this white substance from this plant so they could take it back to the miners. And the miners were then they started doing the uppers. And that worked for a while. Also, he hooked up, Ninurtu was smuggling this on like those crafts that Enki had built. Enki had built submarines, Chinook helicopters, yachts, and cargo type airplanes to smuggle different gold over to Central America. So Enki was the first one that started doing smuggling, as far as he started smuggling gold. But after Enki, Nanar and Ninurtu, which is the oldest son of Enlil. Ninurtu is the oldest son by Mother Ninti, and then the other two sons, Bel and Nanar, were sons of Enlil, and they were smuggling the drugs. So it ain't nothing new. You ain't doing nothing new. When you talking about you hooking up with the Connect was Ninurtu, the Connect, and they started smuggling dope to other planets on dark side of the moon, and human meat. Because like I say, you might look at it as a bad thing that these beings come here and eat humans, but you don't look at it bad when you eating another living organism like duck. You niggas eat. If a duck could talk, would you eat it? If a cow could, before you eat that hamburger and make your own hamburger, if that cow said, "Hey man, why you eat me? I got family and kids. Would you eat them?" Some of you niggas might still, oh, shut up. I'm gonna go on eat you like they wolves, Some nigga, shut up. I'm trying to cut some onions in here on you. I need you to cook. Some niggas out here crazy like that. They'll eat him anyway after he talked. So you got reptilian, you got these extraterrestrials out here that'll eat your ass anyway because you can talk. It don't matter to them. But what we're getting at is if you knew these people language and they can hear you scream or whatever when they was doing something to you, if they can hear you or understand you, you might scare the shit out of them, really. You might scare the shit out of them if you could talk their language or understand what they know. Like if a chicken can fucking hold a conversation with you, the average guy gonna get the hell out of there. A talking chicken, man, you gonna get the hell out of there, man. You gonna be hoping you never even experienced that. I'm telling you, you get the hell up out of there. What he says, chicken. Yeah, like I can get into the science of the chicken because we didn't eat chicken, but I'm just making it for a reference. Any being that's like an animal or something that you eat, if it can talk, would you still eat it? So this is why it was instrumental in the master teacher coming out with the language, with the Nuwapian language, because it was getting you back to speaking the language of the gods, going back to even you people that study the Metaneta, which is the words of God or the language of God, right? And also you people who study Sanskrit and Cuneiform, these other languages, right? Because these 200 fallen niggas brought the Sanskrit, and then the Anunnakis brought the Cuneiform, and then from them two languages, different dialects spun in the world of the gods, right? So in the world of the gods, they don't look at stuff like you look at it as bad stuff. You got real holy rollers out here that when I tell you that when you came to our Nana house, she had bowls of everything. Bowls of the white stuff, bowls of the brown stuff, and bowls of the herbs. And they had liquor, strong liquor, and beer at our Nana's house, right? Uh, I remember that eventually the miners, the white stuff had faded out too to them, where they had became immune to that. And they had other complaints like getting some whoopee, and they was getting that kind of in a way with at the Nana House of Horror when they go deal with the girls. Hey, so what's your question? What's your question, Lee? What's your question, Lee? Man, Mexicans are Nubians. What you saying? What is you saying? Mexicans are Nubians. They part of the Nubian family. Hey, what's your question, Lee? The Mark Lee. Yeah, I got a class coming out on that. Across your head. I got a class coming out on that called the America is the true old world, ancient Kemet. It's more pyramids over here than it is in Africa. And Tahuti was over here. Tahuti was really over here most of the time. He only spent a short amount of time in ancient Kemet hanging out with Murdoch now, his brother now. He mostly came over here to this side at the City of the Gods down in Central America, South America, and he was over here in America in what they call Atlantis, which got sunk, the power station. Hey, I went on your question. Did Marley says he says okay to do that. Do what? Do what? He says, are there ancient mounds in Colorado? Hell yeah. What you think the mountains are? Why you think that them bases, you think that the US government just dug out them mountains and then made them a base under it? No, them places is already there. They just took it over. They just took it over and put their base there. Yeah, so the Anunnakis been making medicine, the gods. So it's got to be two different fractions because because one person asked me, they said that when would this end? Would this human eating and things end? And the contract for this is up in 2030. Then they would have a 13-year grace period, which is 2043. Now people was asking me what was going to happen when these extraterrestrials have to leave and they won't be able to use these people as a food source. Well, in order for survival, these extraterrestrials over the last probably like the last couple thousand of years, they've been adopting humans off the planet, and they already purchased them a whole nother planet in another solar system or galaxy, and they taking the humans there and pretty much setting up them a farm, right? And then they telling the humans, when they put the humans on that planet, they say, oh yeah, we your God. And they said, and they tell them, be fruitful and multiply. Sound familiar? Why do they want them to be fruitful and multiply? So they can produce more food. Don't you want your food to if you got a whole bunch of sheep or a whole bunch of goat or a whole bunch of cows or horses, you want them to breed so that you can create more, right? So these gods are these extraterrestrials, really, who are really bad guys. They're really bad guys. They adopt humans and take them to other planets and set up what they call a farm planet. And like I say, they give them some scripture and say, hey, look, be fruitful and multiply. Why we want you to multiply? Because we need more food. We trying to keep a steady in supplies of food coming. So every certain amount of years, they would come in and adopt certain amount of them humans and take them as food. And these humans they was taken by the gods, and the gods said, "Be fruitful and multiply." So on one end, one extraterrestrial group is saying, "Be fruitful and multiply." So and then another group is coming in and saying, "Well, we got to decrease this population." So it's got to be two different groups. And the group that's in the Bible, they must not be with the group that's saying decrease population, or they might be in bed with them. Why? Because Enlil was in on decreased population. So I take that back. The gods in the Bible is in on decreased. It says one God, Enlil. Because now let me paint that picture for you. In the Bible, every time Enki would save the Israelites, Enlil would come and do something to try to take them out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So starting with Noah, Enki told Noah to build that submarine, pretty much what it was, and store all these different DNAs on that submarine. So he saved them. Then speeding up to when the Israelites was about to starve for 7 years, there was Enlil now. Enlil's son, Baal, who was a fertility god, his son, who his name is Ahad, right? Baal is a title, which means like Lord, and they call him Berith, which means Lord of the covenant. A covenant is a contract. What was the contract? What was the contract that Baal made that caused him to set up the priesthood called Baphomet? And keep in mind, Baal wore fez or Terry Bush in the Holy Tablets because he was the start of the Dirty Moors. Baal is the start of the Dirty Moors from Enlil's side. I'm telling you, the Dirty Moors are saying from Baal. And Baal set up a priesthood called a Baphomet. And he was called a Lord Berith, the Lord of the covenant. And what was that covenant? It was a contract that he had made with Alelu, a Nu's half brother, and in exchange for 144,000 children. They call them virgins. But the reason why they was trying to get these children is because they can scare them up. They can scare these children up real good and produce this thing called adrenaline, which is another drug that they were smuggling. So when I get into the Elohims of smuggling drugs and the Anunnakis and reptilians of smuggling drugs, no, don't just think about like cocaine and all these drugs. Think about other things like adrenaline and gold and iron and other elements that they were smuggling. The Anunnakis smuggling. Pop talk about some of this in the Holy Tablets about some of the minerals that they were smuggling, but he didn't want to scare you, so he didn't go into too much detail on what all they were smuggling. Because a lot of you niggas ran off when a lot of at certain points when Pop said certain things, niggas ran off. They're like, oh yeah, this nigga crazy now. You know what I'm saying? We talking about Islam. This nigga said that he said something crazy. They said a lot of people just couldn't handle it. So they just wasn't smuggling, like I say, gold, the Anunnakis. And where was I at? We was going into like the food sources and everything of the gods, and it's pretty much the mind of how they look at things different from you. And like I say, it must be two different gods, because like I say, Enlil, every time that the Israelites would get in a bind, it was because Enlil put him in that bind. He the one that sent Baal to go. Oh, y'all, that's what I was talking about. Baal making the contract with Elalu for the 144,000 with the reptilians for the adrenaline chrome, and Baal ended up getting busted by Anu, and Enlil sentenced him to the underworld. That's how Baal become a bad guy in your Bible. They say don't follow the ways of Baal and this and that in the Bible, right? Cain followed the ways of Baal and this and that, right? Who is Baal? Enlil's son, the God, the Elohims. And Baal was a Lord God. He had the title Lord God. So that's the tricky part. When you read your Bible and you say the Lord God, stupid suckers, and forgive me, they say, oh yeah, that's Jesus. Everywhere they say Lord God, oh, that's Jesus. That's how they got these people. They got these people where they way behind, man. They could have been Baal, they could have been Nanurtu, all of them had the Lord God title. Enlil, Enki, Murdoch, Gabriel, who was Hanuel, who was the visor or the messenger of Enlil. Because they said that Gabriel was an angel of God and he was a messenger of God. But what's God was that? That was Enlil. When Enlil sent out a message, he told Hanuel to go out and tell him. Especially when they was commercing against with the miners who was tilling the ground. Hey, we're taking questions too. It says quick question, Gilda, where do you retrieve the information? Hey, it's a whole bunch of information out here. Okay, I say you got to get all these. It's a whole bunch of books. I wish I had my books, but they're in storage. You got the Lost Books of Enki by the Zachariah Stitchin. You got the Holy Tablets right now and the links for free by the Dr. Malachi Z York, the master teacher. You can read that in my descriptions right now for free. You got the man, just go to Google and type in on Amazon books about the Anunnakis. It's hundreds of them. It's hundreds of books. But some of the main authors, like Zachariah Snitching, listen to the name, Snitching, put a lot of this information out already. And the elites know this information. Why they gave you, oh, Jesus and this and that. Oh, God, Lord God, and God picked the guy up with a whale and swallowed him for 3 days. And they give you a children's nursery rhyme while they know all the real shit about the Anunnakis, who said, be fruitful and multiply, right? Because some of them niggas was eating y'all. And the master teacher, for you niggas that say you woo sabat, this is shit that the master teacher was ready to come out with right when they arrested him. And it's a tape out that I got on the live side. If you scroll all the way down, maybe about a year or two ago, you'll see it's a tape called "The Food for the Gods" that the master teacher put out, where he went in and said that, oh yeah, in the Bible, if you look up in the Strong Concordance, that these Anunnaki people were eating the Sands Man. The Sands Man is one of the original mans in South Africa, in the Kalahari Desert. Oh, and Jesus, like it's a thing about the Moses and Jesus thing. Now, people can say, okay, well, Moses didn't exist or Jesus didn't exist, and they got that perspective, right? Because you can't find nobody grave in the Bible. Find me anybody grave site in the Bible besides David. Over there, they said they got David's grave site, but they didn't made some kind of shrine and then said that was David's. But they don't got nobody else. Nobody grave site in the Bible. Show me anybody grave site in the Bible. Now you may say, oh, well, that was 2,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago. Nigga, they digging pharaohs up for 10,000 years ago. From 7,000, 5,000 years ago, they digging pharaohs up. And you said your people was in ancient Kemet. So we wait on them to dig up a Hebrew. They ain't dug up no Hebrews yet. They've been digging up pharaohs, and now that you want to say, oh yeah, well, them pharaohs they dug up were Hebrews. Why? Because Joseph came into ancient Kemet and he married. He had 2 sons named Manasseh and Ephraim, and they really classified as Egyptians because their mother was Egyptian. Right? We can get into that. For you Israelites out there, my Hebrews. But dig up me somebody. Why they ain't dug up no Hebrew yet? in the Bible from the Bible. Why ain't dug up Abraham, Isaac, Jacob? Can't find nobody in the Bible. Now we can get into that's just one perspective. We can get to where maybe the name changed and that name is some other name. Like Moses is really Thutmose, right? And maybe there was a man named Yeshua who was an alchemist who knew how to turn water into wine, which is I can do that. I can show you how to turn water into wine. I can show you how to do. I can show you how to put a man's ear back on. They do it all the time in the hospital. They sew ears back on, fingers now. But back 10,000 or 2,000 years ago, it would have seemed like a miracle. But now they do it in the hospital all the time. They sew limbs back on. If you can get it on ice and get it back where it don't go bad before they put it back on. The Egyptians were doing this. In ancient Kemet, they can sew limbs back on. They know how to preserve organs. He says, hey, the Bible, listen at this. We're not saying disregard the Bible, right? You guys just, if you know how to read it and you know how to dissect it and really see what's happening, you can really, you ain't gonna trick the people. But if you up like Reverend Pochop and Reverend Al Sharpton and Reverend Messi Jackson, and you talking about, oh, Jesus and this and that and the cross, and he went to the cross, and I'm telling you, Jesus gonna come back, and yeah, they messing us up, man. You are the Jesus, nigga. Wake your ass up. You are the gods that's asleep. They're supposed to be running the whole thing, but somewhere along the line, somebody wants you to be a food source, so they want you to stay dumb and a miner. They want you to be a miner. Listen to that. Because the Anunnakis were mining. They were mining the gold. And they was mining for a lot of other shit too. I remember the day that Enlil made the announcement. But before that, I'm gonna tell you about something that happened. So one day we was over, we didn't like going over Enlil house. Enlil always wants you to sit down, be still, don't move, don't touch nothing. So Enlil, don't touch nothing. If you like, damn, we can't. What's this? Oh, don't worry about that. Get on out of here. You had them old grandpas that don't want you to touch nothing at their house. That was Enlil. One day, Enlil got a phone call. Yeah, he got a phone call because they had cell phones. Your gods, the Elohims, the Lord God had cell phones. They don't tell you that in the Bible though, right? Because they want to keep you in some. I don't know what they're trying to do. Well, they're trying to keep you in the spell. That's what it is, the Leviathan spell. But these gods had cell phones. These gods had handheld devices, right? Called tablets, right? Kitab is another word for book. They had tablets before you had written books. They had these smartphone advanced devices before you had written books. These Elohims, these Lord gods. And a part of them didn't want you to be like them. That's why they got mad. Enlil got mad because they started to know what he knew when they got onto the game. See, if somebody that's hustling you and want to keep control over you, they don't want you to know what they know. Because when you find out what they know, then they won't be able to control you no more. So what this game is about, the world of the gods, it's about control. Hey, drop some more questions up in there. We've been on 30 some minutes already. But the initial, for the people just coming in, the initial question is, if a chicken could talk, or whatever animal meat you eating, if it could talk, would you still eat it? Because they say that crawfish, when you boil them, they scream. Ah! So if whatever meat you was cooking, if you can hear it scream, ah, don't kill me, please. I don't want to die. I got kids. You remember that? It was a show called Shark Tales with Will Smith playing a fish on there. And these sharks, they had like an Italian type accent, right? And they sitting inside of this ship having a dinner. And the shrimp was on the table, and the shrimp got off, and they were about to eat them. And the shrimp started talking. He said, "Oh man, Mr. Shark, I got kids, this and that, that and this." Right? So one of the sharks who had a soft heart, he told him, "Get on out of here. Get on out of here, shrimp." You know what I'm saying? The shrimp could talk to him, so they didn't eat him. And but so what I'm saying is, if you could talk to these extraterrestrials, you probably really scare the shit out of them. They really fear us more than we fear them. But they make us fear them because that's how they keep control. Yeah, look, that's another. Hey, that's another thing. Intelligent risk taker, they can talk. You just don't understand their language. And then it's really a difference. It's really a thing between the universe and the plants. The plants offer to yield 20% of their products in order for the galaxy, as far as certain beings, to survival. So that they yield they made a oath or a deal. The plant race or the vegan race from the vegan star system made a deal with certain extraterrestrial groups to yield a certain amount of their fruit to as a food source. But those plants are living and breathing organisms, just like those animals. The plants are alive. They actually did a test. They actually did a test where they took a plant and hooked up one of those what you call those things that show the post going up and down. I'll think of it in a minute. Somebody drop it in the chat. With the post going up and down. I mean, with the where it shows the wavelength of the heart rate. And they brought a scientist in, and the scientist started treating the plant bad, like cutting his limbs off, not watering it, and the plant died, right? And the monitor went like flatlined, right? And then they brought after a certain amount of days, they brought another scientist in there, and this scientist started watering the plant, started being nice to the plant, and the plant came back to life. Right, the plant came back to life, and the heart rate or the rate started going back like doom 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 doom. So it stands to reason that plants, if they can die, they must be alive. And if when they die, if they can come back to life, what if you could die and come back to life? Or what if you do die and come back to life? Just in another reality or in another body, right? There's really no such thing as this. All albinos, proconians, you call them albinos or Nordics. All right, so with the albinos, what happens is that the Anunnakis begin adopting Mayans and Olmecs from this planet, and they took these people to a place called Centaurian star system, which is one of the closest star systems to Earth. It's actually also where um the planet they call it in that movie Avatar Pandora, but it's the real name of it is Naboo. One of the closest planets to Earth is Naboo. That's where the dark space program went to. That's how they able to make all these movies like Avatar and all that. They actually went though to those places. You just don't know about it. Go get a book. Go get a book called The Dark Fleet with Hitler and the Ashtar Command now. Right? The government already set up a chain where several governments linked up, like the French, the Germans, the Americans, and a couple more other governments linked up to create this dark space program to go to these, to travel 4.2 light years away or whatever, 40 light years away, right? And they created this thing called cryogenesis so they can put them in a sleep state as they travel. And they got shit that go certain speeds because they got a hold of certain elements like Naquata, and they was able to get a hold of certain like the sublight engines and certain engines off these extraterrestrial crafts that they shot down at Area 51 and other spots like Russia and China, these governments that hooked up together and exchanged their information. Go ahead on that dark fleet program. I mean, on the dark fleet program that they had going on the dark side of the moon and Mars and those things and whatnot. And so getting to the albino thing. Close my door, Hakeem. Haru. You must don't know I'm live. Hey, I'm live right now. It's called Nabu. Yeah. So the albinos come about. Eventually, these Centaurians that got took by the Anunnakis to the what were these Almacs and Mayans, which got took to Centaurian star system. They eventually went to several different star systems before they went to Rajal, and then they end up in the Procon star system or the Nirvana. With the Nirvana is one of the names for it, but Procon star system, where when they got under that star, because it had tyrosine. I mean, it was a yellow star and a white star, the Procon star, right? And it created it increased the tyrosine in their brain, causing them to be born with blonde hair. They'd be dark skinned with blonde hair. And this it's actually some of they seed that live down in South America. You go look up South Americans with blonde hair, dark skin with blonde hair, and that's the Proconian seeds. Hey, go on. That's why you got my background. Close the door. Yeah, so watching that blippy. Uh so what happens is that amongst them, because of the tyrosine increased in their brain, they start beginning to birth albino beings, beings that were melanin recessive, right? Without the melanin. And these people were looked at as second class citizens. White or albinos on the Proconian planet are looked at as second class citizens. And at one point they made a deal with the reptilians because I don't want to get into it too much, but you can go back and watch my Proconian tape. Who are the Proconians that we put out? It's like it's Galactic Family of Life 11 or something like that. Where we talk about the Proconians, but they end up making a deal in exchange with the reptilians to get some fertility back that they lost, a fertility back that the reptilians promised them in exchange for slaves, because it's human trafficking going on in the galaxy, not on just on your planet. Human trafficking is a galactical thing, right? And it's food source, slaves, and other same things that's going on down here on Earth. As it is above, so is below. So they started trafficking these albinos to these reptilian dragonians who was using them as a food source. And what they did is took these albinos, the ones they was able to make the trade for, and took them to a place called the Aldebaran star system on a planet called Aldebaran, where they set up a farm and started pretty much breeding these albinos like chickens, and they became known as the Aldebarans. Some of the Aldebarans got a little bit of intelligent and figured out what was going on, and they tried to escape the reptilians. And some of them made it to Venus and became known as the Val Thors. And the Thors. Actually, the Thor is actually a name of a city that's on Venus, and that's how they get that name. His name is Val, but he come from Thor, which is actually a city on Venus, an underground city on Venus, right? Uh, and some of these beings pretty much became a hierarchy for the reptilians because they needed overlords to monitor they food supply. So what they would do is they would come amongst they food source, and then they would pick some people amongst them and then make them a part of some kind of secret order or secret priesthood, like the Leviathan priesthood or the Baphomet or these priesthoods. That's how most priesthoods was set up, so that the extraterrestrials can have like a middleman, sort of say, like preachers and all them are middlemans for God. That's what they tell you. They say, "Oh, we working for God." The Pope say he worked for God, but he wearing a fish hat, so his God must be some kind of fish god, like the Nomos. And then the niggas that roll with the Pope, right? They call themselves cardinals. Now cardinals are birds, and you forgot about that's a extraterrestrial race called the cardinals, and they actually the bad guys. They actually the cherubins. These cardinals, they warrior birds, and they say, "Oh yeah, well we priests." we high priest bird. We high priest birds. But just keep in mind, why are they dressed like birds, and why is the Pope dressed like a fish? And what God is they talk? What God is they promoting? If they wearing fish God, they promote nomos, and the nomos was the niggas that were eating the Anarchies, because the nomos is one group of the Anarchies. Anarchy is not just Enlil them. Enlil them is the humanoid types. They had nomos, reptilian, grays, all different types of species. Matter of fact, it was 140 some thousand different species on Nubaru. It was 144,000 different species, and they are broken into different groups. One of them groups were called the Igigis, the ones that went to Mars. We talked about them in Murdoch's wedding. Yeah, so the Nomos were the ones that were eating humans. And if you don't believe me, they still eat humans right now. Go put a cut on your leg and jump in the ocean and wait about 25 minutes. Nomos gonna come along and eat your ass. You call them a shark now. That's one group of the Nomos, a shark, right? The Syrian beings, the Syrian beings. So yeah, the Ninja Turtles come from another group who was really the first reptilian group that spawned in this galaxy on a planet called Meldick, which was in between, I think, Mars and Jupiter, right? And they got exploded by Nubaru, but these beings that lived on there were called Tridacodites or Meldecians, and they were some of the leaders were like 7 foot tall, but the warrior clan, they were short Ninja Turtle looking beings. They look like a turtle without their shell, and they got fingers and webbed feet, and you wonder why your fingers got webs in between, because you got these beings in your DNA. That goes back to the tape that I put out yesterday called Extraterrestrial DNA in Humans. And people will say, well, where's your proof that extraterrestrial DNA is in humans? I showed you. You can look around. Why you think niggas got the what you call it, the George Jefferson, the ball in the middle, the George Jefferson? They come from the Denacles, the big head niggas like Yaku them. They come from the center of the earth. That particular trait with the receding hairline come from the Denacle. You see niggas with watermelon heads, they come from the Denacle. Niggas with long tongues, long nose, 6 fingers, 6 toes. All this is extraterrestrial traits. Down syndrome, which comes from a group of beings called the cone heads, the terus, the chink eyes. All this go back, man. We ain't trying to hold you long. We know y'all got it. It's late, but it's Saturday, so a lot of y'all off work, so we can chop it up with you a little bit. Yeah, the Man in Black movie. A lot of those characters that they got from the Man in Black movie, right, come from your ancestors called the Dogons. The Dogons said that these beings from Cyrus came, and they had balls on the bottom of their chin. They got masks of them over there. Go pull up Dogon mask, and you're gonna see they got the ball chin like at least 90% of the characters that was in Man in Black was taken from the Dogon people storylines that they told these Caucasians who came and asked them, "Oh, what was these beings like?" And then the Dogons tell them, they write it down and then take it to Hollywood and turn it into the Man in Black. You know what I'm saying? This type of thing that's going on. Yeah, Balchinians. Those beings visit your ancestors called the Dogons. Go look it up. And I'm talking about thousands of years before Man in Black was even thought of, before they even had cameras. These people were saying that these reptilian or these nomos, they call one group the Chitauli. One group of these nomos, the Chitauli. That's what Credo Mutwa. Listen to the name Mu, which means one who's of Twa, the Twa tribe. Credo Mutwa talks about these grays. He even said he ate. They killed the gray and ate him. You know what I'm saying? As part of a ritual. Yeah, Mutwa of the Twa, like Musalam of one of peace, Moor one of all Chaldea, Mutwa one of the Twa. Somebody that's from the Twa. Come on, man, shit's right there. You look at him, he looked like a Twa. He said he was Zulu. He was a Zulu priest. That's only because the Zulu got the Twa. The Zulu come out of the Twa. The Zulu is actually a mixture like 3 or 4 different tribes, plus the Anunnaki mixing in. We'll take a couple more questions, man. We got about 5 or 10 minutes left out here, man. People don't really watch videos a whole hour. The max watch time is about 33 minutes. People got a short attention span. But like I say, if you tuning in, Young Elder got 8 books out now. Right? I authorized 8 books. If you want to get those 8 books, all you gotta do is send me a $50 donation to the Cash App. Right? Leave your emails in the link, and we'll send you the PDF form over for those books. And you can go get them printed out if you want. That's why we only charging $50 for all of them. But when we get them on Amazon, they probably gonna be a couple like $45 a piece. So if you want to get those books right now, while you can get them, go on ahead and get them. Yeah, the Titans come from a planet called Titan, and they like big. It's different types of Titans, but the one that they most of the time they refer to is the big 15-foot cyclone with the one eye, or the big giant type beings. And those beings were designed by the Anunnakis along on Titan a long time ago to pretty much be worker beings before humans were created. They created these big shaggy type creatures to haul stuff around, like the ape man, the Sasquatch. They can get up to 8, 9, 10 foot tall, and they quite just because they big don't mean that they ain't that intelligent, because they are telepathic. These beings, these Sasquatch, these Bigfoot beings, and some of them been spotted on Earth. They actually live some of them live on the ground here. All the Chinese race created to serve us. Now it depends on what race because the original Chinese race is the Sandsman. Man, I'm gonna tell you this. You study language. Key. When you listen to the Sandsman language, you pretty much hearing the original dialect of the Chinese language. Go listen to just go Google on YouTube the Sandsman language, and then listen to the Chinese language. You hearing the dialect of that. Another thing, look at the Sandsman eyes. You can see some of the features of these agents. So the agents the agents can be so different types of agents, but the Chinese can be used loosely, because the Chinese can be a mix of 3 or 4 different races before you even get to this light-skinned Chinese, or this pale Chinese guy. They got cone head in them, and they got a race of beings called Frugaloids, Ashtar Command. These blonde hair, blue-eyed beings who were created by these Aryans, the Aryan Brotherhood, right? Created by Yaku. Because you got to keep in mind, Ashtar Command went back in time and jumped time and influenced Yaku to create this superior race, just like they did when they jumped back and went to holler at Hitler and convinced Hitler to create this superior blue-eyed, blonde-haired race, which would they come out to nothing, because as soon as Hitler trained them up and got them all, had them in the gym pumping iron and souping them up and hitting them with steroids and all that, and then they go right up to the Olympics, and some country boy named Jesse Owens dust they behind right off. And Hitler say, man, I give up. We'll never be able to create a superior race more superior than the black man in America, the Nubian man in America. We'll never, because you got to keep in mind what the melting pot was all about. It was a project to create these superior, supreme type beings, body types. Over here in America. That's why you got so many species mixed in you. And you got to understand how mitochondrial DNA work in DNA. DNA records the stronger genetics. So if you mix 2 DNAs, that DNA will combine and it would make a new genetics, which will take both the dominant genetics from either or on the mitochondria and create a better mitochondria. It'll upgrade. So you supposed to, when you was breeding, you supposed to upgrade and find people that's smarter than you or more intelligent than you, so that you could upgrade your DNA or upgrade your bloodline. A lot of people didn't do that. They went looking for somebody who was fine and sexy, but dumb as a box of rocks. And they wonder why their kids dumb. Oh yeah, she was fine, but she was dumb as hell. Yeah, that type of part. And now your kids, they behind. Why? Because who you bred with. You bred with some Lulu or something like that. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, so when you go out to breed, find somebody intelligent than you, because keep in mind, DNA, mitochondria is always recording and upgrading. So if you get with somebody that ain't got no that can't upgrade you, then you pretty much gonna be, your DNA could be stagnated for a couple generations. But if you find somebody more intelligent than you, and they find somebody the same on the same level of intelligence, once y'all swap DNA and your stronger genes and her stronger genes combine and take the new gene gonna take all the stronger dominant genes and create a new stronger genes or a new stronger mitochondria. And that's how we develop as humans. That's how we evolve as humans, through breeding and selective breeding. That's how the star seed get here. Right. And there was wondering why master teacher had strict guidelines on Islam or certain religious aspects. They have strict guidelines on breeding with different people. But you gotta get up out of here, man. We know it's late. We're going into the probably 1 o'clock where some of you at. Shout out to guys in Atlanta on the East Coast. It's probably 1 o'clock where some of you guys at. And we're gonna come back to another one, man. We're gonna come back tomorrow with another one called what is your zoo type? Probably. But we're gonna leave you on this, man. If that meat, that chicken, duck, horse, cow, whatever you eating, you know what I'm saying? There's some niggas eat dog in some parts of the world. Or they eat some of everything over in China. Right? If that animal could talk, would you still eat them? If you can, when you balling them, if you heard them screaming, don't ball me, would you still eat them? No. Half of you niggas take off running. If a chicken start talking and you about to get ready to wring his neck, and he start talking, nigga, you would run and hope you forget about that incident. So it goes to say the same with the extraterrestrials, with the gods. If you could communicate with the gods, they wouldn't eat you. Some niggas say, "Oh yeah, well we the gods." Yeah, that's right. So, like I say, get on your shit, man. This is, like I say, this class is for advanced students. It's for advanced students. So if you're a religious guy and you coming in here, you like, man, I'm going to unsubscribe. This nigga crazy. Right? Go unsubscribe. It don't matter. But because people gonna get it. And shout out to all of our people, man, for getting us to 60,000 subscribers. Man, we hit 60,000 subscribers. And they still shadow banning the hell out of us at this point. Because they know we the end. After this, we end all the bullshit, all the game, all the elite walking around knowing all this shit and leaving you left out, thinking some damn submarine, whale picked up a guy, a ghost impregnate women. Come on, man. We out of this. We out of that game now. And like I said, I'm gonna do another tape too called Technology in the Bible. We already got that tape, really. We already got part 1 through 3 on technology in the Bible already. On the video, on the live side, if you want to scroll down and watch them tapes. We got over 1,500 tapes out, man. And they shadow banning the hell out of us. Really, we got more plays than they showing you. It's like we may have 100,000 plays on some, and they only show, oh yeah, we got 7,000 or something on now. Because they want to make people think that we ain't being watched. We got celebrities watching us all over the world. We got everybody watching right now. We pretty much control the game at this point on all the information. We hogging the game. On the Anunnaki shit, religion, Ascension Manual, alchemy, and the School of Tahuti. Right? Keep in mind, all good alchemists always take notes. Tahuti took notes. You know what I'm saying? He took notes. Take on the human. Oh yeah, that's what I said. Shout out IRT, man, intelligence risk taker. Yeah, I might do that one tomorrow, man. I already got the thumbnail and everything done for it. Really, I could have did it tonight, but some say do this one first and then come back with the zoo type tape. We'll get more into the zoo type tape, but like I say, you got 23 different species of beings inside of your DNA. So hit that like button before y'all get out of here, man. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And like I said, if you want to get them 8 books by the young elder, what you would do is cash out me a $50 donation, leave your emails in the links, and we'll send you all 8 books over. The Ascension Manual, the Dream Scroll, the Orion Group book, the Galactic Family of Life book, right? The Language of the Bird book, you want to get that one, right? The Ascension Manual is the hot one. The Hustles Manual, the Scroll of Eyes, and the Book of Extraterrestrials. And most of these books are thick, gonna take you about a month or two to read. If you're a real reader, it can take you longer than that if you ain't a real reader. And if I use it like pictures and things in your book, we got pictures and everything inside the books. So if you want to get that, $50 donation to the Cash App, the Young Elder. We about to get out, man. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Wadu.